welcome everybody from the Lithuanian Embassy in The Hague. And I would like to thank you, all the participants, to this webinar organized together by the Enterprise Lithuania and the Lithuanian Embassy in the Netherlands. My name is Vidmantas Purlys. I am Lithuanian ambassador to the Netherlands. And today we are going to speak about the Dutch food and beverage market. Just to mention a few points on that, the Netherlands is one of the most important trade partners for Lithuania, and it's among top 10 trade partners for our country, or export markets. The goods turnover between our countries in 2019 has surpassed 2.7 billion euros. And overall, the Dutch food sector is one of the most important sectors for the Dutch economy. It's a large sector. It's both domestically and as a hub for international trade. So during this webinar, we're going to learn about business for Lithuanian business opportunities in the Dutch food and beverage market. You will hear as to what steps Lithuanian producers have to take in order to see their production on the shelves in the Dutch supermarkets. So we have a panel of 3 very experienced and capable speakers, and I would like to introduce them to you. The first speaker will be Margot Roose, who is a business development officer for Baltic countries and Finland. Then Tom Streng, who is a key account manager at Danone for the Netherlands. And our third panelist is Jan Streng, who is an entrepreneur and business owner who operates both in Lithuanian agricultural sector and also in the Dutch, on the Dutch market. So during the webinar, or after each presentation, you will have a possibility to put your questions, and please register them online in the comments chapter, and we will then I will then put those questions or communicate these questions to our speakers after each intervention. So I encourage you to be active and to make most of this opportunity. So we will have an hour and a half for the seminar, and I suggest we begin now without further ado. And I would like to invite the first speaker, Margot Roose, who, as I mentioned, is responsible for the support of Dutch businesses in the Baltic countries and Finland. So she has a regional outlook to the economic exchanges between these countries, who will share her insights about different approaches of Dutch and Baltic businesses, introduce an institutional setup for the business support in the Netherlands. So Margot, I now turn to you, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am Margot, as the Dutch say my name, or Margot, as Estonians say it. I would like to tell you a bit more about my experience. As the ambassador already said, I mostly work the other way around, so helping Dutch companies and businesses coming to our region, mainly with larger projects like infrastructure, tunnel project between Helsinki and Tallinn, and sort of innovational projects like this. But I, of course, talk to a lot of companies, and the Dutch partners who come to our direction always work with local companies as the other side of the deal or the business. So I would like to share some of my experiences. And first of all, I'm a great fan of Lithuanian food and drinks. So whenever I'm in Vilnius, I have enjoyed excellent products. So I would be happy to help to share the good stuff with the rest of the world and with the Netherlands. And I think the first thing the Dutch look at is always the win-win situation. So there should be something for them and something also for the other partner. So that's always good to keep in mind when you start your talks about doing business with them. And the other thing, which everyone I think will recognize who have worked with the Dutch, is that their aim is to buy the cheapest and with the highest quality. So often these two things are difficult to sort of achieve together, but this is where they want to end up with their deal or agreement. So it's just good to know. So what are the support networks for the Netherlands market? I mean, going to the Dutch market, there is a lot of institutions that can help you. The first and most important one is the Netherlands Chamber of Commerce, which is also a business registry. So they have a lot of information there. You can also find information about companies registered in the Netherlands. If you would like to know the background of your partners, there is a possibility to look for, first of all, free information. But if you want to know more, there is a small fee to be paid. So that's a good place to start from. And there are also advisors to explain how to set up company in the Netherlands, what are the tax information you need to know, all these things. So it's a very good place to start with. And they can also direct you, of course, to their colleagues in other organizations. Then something maybe that's less known and that's not so strong in our countries, there are sort of local regional agencies. So main business regions have their agencies that are interested to attract foreign companies, foreign investments. So they can be also very helpful if you are thinking of where to set up, if you have like practical questions. So it's Rotterdam Partners, Innovation Quarter, these types of organizations. And then talking about the food and beverages industry, the Netherlands is one of the sort of most developed countries in that field, and the Netherlands government is investing heavily to become or to stay the food innovation and agriculture innovation, sort of food and nutrition delta of Europe. So the whole area is in the south of the country called Wageningen, where there is the best agricultural university. And around that, there is something called Food Valley, where 175 agriculture and food companies have joined. And companies can become members there to benefit from the business network. And also, if you are thinking of innovational products, developing your product further, need research and development, there are around 10,000 scientists. There is also an accelerator called Start Life. So they are working on the sort of newest and the main fields are protein shift, food and health, and how these two are connected, circularity, of course. So anyone who is really thinking to develop their product further, this is the place to go. And also for any startups, or if you are a big company but you would like to start another stream of your business or go into new fields, then this could be very helpful. And one more thing I wanted to say, and that will be also probably discussed in the next presentation, is that Netherlands is a great location and network to be as a gateway for third countries. So it's really a lot of pan-European retailers in food and beverages businesses are headquartered in the Netherlands. So therefore, this could be a good place for also other reasons, not just the market of almost 17 million people, but also for the global market jump. So what have been the stories I hear from the Baltic companies going to the Dutch market? Of course, the main sort of problem they face, to me, it seems that it's planning for the market entry in terms of time and budgets and human resource, because the plans often end up being too short. They expect the results within months, but it can take a year or two. And also with the finances, especially if you want to promote your own brand, then it does take time and money. So be prepared. I am especially sad when I see that a lot of effort has gone into a lot of work, and then once the results are almost around the corner, the company decides, okay, it's not going to work, we are pulling out. So that's something that I hope you can avoid. And then another question or discussion I often have is the question whether you should emphasize your country of origin, that the product is from Lithuania, Latvia, or Estonia. And this depends a lot on the industry. There are some sectors where, of course, we have some stronger presence, like e-government maybe from Estonia, or fintech from Lithuania, or sort of mainly the startup related strong points, I would say. But also then the choice is whether you would like to be seen as a Scandinavian or Nordic producer. And that definitely has a very good image, and it could work. I have seen it working for beauty industry, some organic products in there, but also I don't see why it wouldn't work for organic food and beverages, or like healthy, sustainable. I mean, these are the main products I think that have a good export potential often. And then, of course, when we talk about talking to the Dutch, I mean, the companies often complain or tell me that that Dutch are very tough negotiators. I mean, what else can you expect? It's hundreds of years of experience of a trading nation. It's in their DNA. They love negotiations, so they take it as a sport. So the only thing I can advise is to be really well prepared, have your numbers and facts, have your plan of where you want to end up, and do your best, because I mean, it is often quite a challenge it could be, but in the end everybody wants a win-win deal. So once you reach that point, then they are happy to shake hands, and once that happens, then they will stick to their promise. So that's the good side of tough negotiations. There won't be any changing their mind later on, which makes it simple and direct and straightforward in a way. Well, what I can say to summarize, and what I've been told many times from the Netherlands, that they say that if it works in the Netherlands, it will work anywhere else. So it's a tough competitive market, but once you are successful there, you can be sure you can go anywhere with your product. So that's what I wanted to tell you today. I'm happy to answer any questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this presentation. Just maybe a question from my side. You mentioned that the Chamber of Commerce, which are regionally also organized, that's a good entry point. So they do not discriminate between Dutch producers or businesses and the foreign. Is that right? Is there equal access to draw their information and experience?
Yes, and there are actually even specialists who work especially with foreign companies, so they know how to advise them. And also maybe I should add that there is an organization called RVO, which is like Enterprise Lithuania a little bit, I think. So that is also a good organization to, once the company is registered as Dutch, there is a lot of support available, all kinds of knowledge vouchers and other tools. And what I would suggest, I have a little list of links of those organizations. So when we send information to the participants later on, then I could also include those links, because I think listing those names now quickly, it might not be very helpful for the companies.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good idea. It's some for an additional consideration as to how to start thinking about going onto the Dutch market. So thank you very much. And I would like to now to invite Tom Streng for his presentation, and just to remind you that Tom is a key account manager of Danone for the Netherlands for big clients, and he's got a lot of experience on marketing in Dutch retail. So I'm keen to look forward to his presentation. So Tom, please, it's now your turn to speak.
Thank you, Vimantas. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here, and thank you for inviting me. I prepared a presentation to share. Is it visible now for everyone, Vimantas? Can you see it?
Yes, it is. That's perfect.
Okay, great. So I will elaborate a bit on the steps a producer in Lithuania need to take to reach the shelves of Dutch supermarkets. And before I go into details, some more information about myself and especially my professional background. I've been working at Nestle and Danone for the past 10 years. So two big food multinationals, which gives me now over 10 years experience in the Dutch food retail market. I've been working in commercial roles. So not in logistics or finance, but really the commercial part, driving the negotiation with the Dutch retailers, currently responsible for Jumbo supermarkets and Plus supermarkets. Jumbo being the number 2 in the Netherlands. Also good to know that I don't have a private label background, but I do believe that some of the information I'm going to share can also apply to your business if you're a private label producer. Besides that, I am also trying to be a food entrepreneur, unfortunately not successful yet, but I have tried next to my daytime job many initiatives, and I hope I can also share some of my learnings and pitfalls from that perspective as well, how it is to reach markets from a startup point of view instead of a multinational point of view. Maybe nice to know, I also been in Lithuania from that perspective, and actually be speaking to Ruta, a confectionery company, also to see if we could do some business together. So hopefully I can help you today. 4 steps that I will discuss. First of all, understanding the Dutch market, some general info and some consumer and shopper insights that I'd like to share with you. Then step 2 and step 3, some more background on, let's say, the back office sort of things. So some quality and legal specificities of the Dutch market. Again, I've not a legal background, so it's just some general highlights to take into account, and something about the logistics. And finally, I end up with the most interesting part, I think, the commercial opportunities, but also the challenges that you should take into account. And if there's any unclarity, I'm also fine if you want to ask questions in between, but unless I need you to interrupt or not. So first of all, the Dutch food retail market is worth around 40 billion euros, growing 4.1% in 2019. That's a higher growth versus 2018 because the Dutch government increased the VAT on food from 6 to 9%. So also 2 percentage points of growth comes from this VAT increase. Wasn't entirely passed on to consumers. Then about different supermarket chains. Albert Heijn is the biggest one with a share of almost 35%. Jumbo being number 2 with 21% and gaining share fast. Then you see some smaller chains, plus Dirk Koop, and finally Hard Discount has a combined share of around 17%, but is losing share currently. Then a number of supermarkets. We have around 4,000. We have actually a very high density of supermarkets. Everybody can go on their bicycle basically to a supermarket nearby and buy their groceries. Good to know that the market is quite consolidated. As you can see on top, it's Albert Heijn, almost 1,000 stores and being the biggest one, then Jumbo, and then Super Unie, that's a buying cooperation for all sorts of regional players. A lot of smaller stores, especially. And then finally, you have Aldi and Lidl, obviously well known. I think Lidl is also present in Lithuania, if I'm not informed, if I'm informed correctly. So basically, you have 5 doors you need to enter and make your negotiation agreements, and then you have the full market. Well, you can also easily find, obviously, that Netherlands has about 17 million consumers, divided over 7.5 million households. And what's most interesting, if you're looking at opportunities for the Dutch market, is that almost 40% is just a one-person household. So we have a lot of very small households, obviously impacting the sort of food and the sort of products people are buying. And then another big group is the millennial population, so 25 to 39 years old. They're up to 20% of the Dutch population and becoming more and more a big factor in the food and beverage product development. Then the elderly, so the 65 years plus group, currently at 1/3 of the buying population, so 20 years and older. But the Dutch population is graying rapidly. So it is expected actually in 2014, so that's in 20 years, that there's one person of 65 plus compared to one person being 20 years, older years. So this obviously also impacts the demographics in store, the products choices people make, store layout, and so on. Private label is around 28%, including Aldi and excluding fresh categories. Then the convenience channel is growing fast, but also convenience in itself is a big trend in the Dutch market. COVID-19 did have a big negative impact, obviously, on the on-the-go figures. People are not driving to their work anymore or less, and not traveling by train as much as before. But still, supermarkets are investing heavily in this trend, investing in more stores. Albert Heijn has their to-go format, in which they will grow from currently 8 to around 100 stores in the petrol stations of BP. We also see a bit of blurring going on with non-food players like Hema being sold at Jumbo, HelloFresh boxes sold at Plus, and so on. And this convenience trend is not only in channel, but also in ready-to-eat solutions, in ready-to-drink solutions. Another big trend is the growth of e-commerce. Actually, the Netherlands has the highest level of online food penetration. In 2019, it's 35%. The current share of e-commerce is around 5% and expected to grow due to COVID-19, amongst others, to around 7% over the next year. So it's really accelerating quickly. Also driven by a player named Picnic, which is a pure player who has entered the market in 2015 and drove online penetration, since they have no delivery cost. They do deliver your products, your food products at home. So what is our tendency towards new products or new players on the market? We are quite conservative compared to the rest of the world. 22% loves trying new things, compared to 42% global and 33% in Europe. But you can read the rest of the figures. But I think the most important message here is that, and Margot also emphasized it, that the Dutch market is a very competitive one. And also for Danone, for Nestle, but for all companies, startup companies, innovations often fail, and you do need a long breath to succeed on the long run. But if you succeed, it represents quite an amount of money. Here you see the most successful launches in 2019, especially the Starbucks coffee, which was brought by Nestle, was the biggest success last year. But if you can succeed, you can think of around, say, 3 million euros consumer value that your concept might bring if you know how to launch it in like broadly in the supermarket chain in the Netherlands. Give you an idea of the size of the price. I think it's the same in the rest of Europe, but Dutch consumers are very, very health conscious. So health for both retailers, driven by the consumers, is the biggest growth opportunity. And here you see some comparison to the Belgian market and the French market. But health is obviously a very broad concept. So what is healthy for the Dutch consumer? First of all, more and more Dutch consumers are becoming vegan, vegetarian, or flexitarian. So flexitarian meaning you eat no meat at least once a week. 55% of the Dutch population is currently flexitarian, and that's increasing year on year. Then less alcohol. What you see in the people are consuming less but more premium alcohol. So you see the craft beer category expanding rapidly. But you also see that the no alcohol beers, 0% beers, are also gaining more and more share. Bio certified is growing more and more. Obviously, people are becoming more informed. They can find more data about companies, but the Dutch government is also going to implement Nutri-Score, so the ABCDE food logo, so people can see what is healthy, what is not. Then finally, functional. Functional is also growing very rapidly. An example of a big growth platform in dairy is actually high protein. And that is also across different categories. Also a bit of link to the vegan trend. Since people are getting less protein out of meat, people are eating more and more proteins from other sources, like for instance dairy. And finally, planet sustainability, a very big topic in the Netherlands. So you see players actually like Oatly on the Dutch market, the Scandinavian, who is communicating front of pack their CO2 footprint. So that's also important for the Dutch consumer, and as such also very important for the Dutch retailer, because they will do what the Dutch consumer demands, both in private label as in branded manufacturing. So what is what is healthy eating according to the Dutch government? We have the Voedingscentrum, that is the independent organization that recommends how you can eat healthy. They have the schijf van 5 in Dutch, the disc of 5, in which they will say what you should eat more and what you should eat less. Well, first of all, you need to eat lots of fruits and veggies. Then if you eat bread, eat it whole meal. So what I said before, the vegan trend, eat more plant-based protein, also more fish. Try to eat less meat. Focus on unsaturated fats. Drinks without calories. So water, coffee, tea. And then obviously you can indulge sometimes, but limit the baddies. So eat it only once a week, for instance. Then another example about this sustainable packaging, about the planet growth driver. This can really be a USP if you can manage that your packaging is fully recyclable, for instance, has less foil, less plastic than competitive assortment in the supermarket. Also from a private label point of view, Dutch retailers signed the Plastic Pact in the Netherlands, which means that they committed to reducing plastics with 20% in 2025. So they have committed publicly to cut down on their plastics, and they will obviously put that demand into their private label producers and also to their A-brand manufacturers. There's something about beverages in Holland. We have a statiegeld system, so you pay a deposit of 25 cents on a big bottle. And when you return it, you get a refund. So this plastic pack that I just told you about is a voluntarily initiatives. So, but you also see that the Dutch government is more and more imposing legal obligations to cut down plastic waste. So also on small plastic bottles, from 1st of July 2021, there will be imposed statiegeld. And cans are expected to follow as well later on. That's still voluntary, but if the industry doesn't show any results, the government will impose deposit on it as well. Then just a summary of some sources I used, and I think can also be a good access point to the Dutch market. What I said before, the Foodie Centrum as the source of what is healthy eating. The FNLE, the Federation of the Dutch Food Industry, they can help you find good parties to cooperate with. Then for beverages, the branch organization below, the FWS, a link to the plastic pact. It's in Dutch, but maybe you can Google Translate or whatever. Good to know that we have a Nationaal Preventieakkoord. That's basically the Dutch government's commitment to decrease smoking, alcohol abuse, and overweight abuse. So especially this last part, overweight abuse, is impacting developments in the food and especially also the beverage segment. So they are discussing, for instance, a sugar tax. It's not here yet, but might come if the industry doesn't take enough steps. Dutch bio certification, some more background about this Nutri-Score development in the Netherlands. And then some specific, I don't know if they're specific, but at least I found that you need to pay verbruiksbelasting on beverages. And we have a packaging waste fund, so also to prevent waste on the streets, in which you have to pay per pack delivered on the Dutch market, some taxes. And finally, the NVWA, that's the organization who safeguards our food safety or animal well-being standards. And they can tell you all about our quality and regulation requirements. That was it about understanding the Dutch market. Then some more about quality and legal requirements. So I spoke to my Danone colleagues about this, since I'm not directly responsible, but in general, EU food regulation is leading. So if you're compliant in Lithuania, you're also compliant in the Netherlands, but I would recommend always work together with a local quality legal bureau and to double check whether, especially also your marketing claims live up to the local requirements. Then Dutch directness, and Margot also touched upon it. The Dutch consumer is very verbal, very direct. We call it direct. Some people call it also rude. And we are second only to the UK number of complaints and also compliments. So you are obligated, and you also need consumer care if you are launching on the Dutch market. It can also be obviously locally outsourced. Some specific about the Dutch market. If you are in a fresh category, we are used to a high level of freshness. So we have more days in the fridge than for instance, in Germany. And as a rule of thumb, the division in freshness, so if you have 30 days, the retailer demands at least 10 days. But again, it's especially the consumer who is used to a high level of freshness. So if you're launching a fresh product, look at the best before dates in shelf and see whether you can match that. Otherwise, you will be not competitive. Then local taste. There is not such a thing as a European taste. So you see that, for instance, at Danone, we have a different strawberry flavor in Holland than in Spain. And I would recommend to test your products locally if your products meet Dutch taste, both for private label as for branded companies. Again, sustainability is key. We have a big initiative, successful initiative to go to fight food waste. And as I said before, the war on plastic is a very hot topic. So if your pack is not fully recyclable, put on pack how you can recycle it. So do you need to put it in the plastics recycle bin or in a different one? And having a fully recyclable pack can definitely be a USP to get on shelf. Have your logistics in place. That seems obviously like an open door, but it's good to emphasize that the logistical process in the Netherlands, in the Dutch retail, is highly automated. So without GS1 DAS, GS1 DAS, and EDI, you cannot supply the Dutch retailers. So you do need a partner or yourself to have a very high level of EDI and GS1 DAS, because the whole process is basically automated. So here you have some details about the process at Danone. We get our invoices and our orders on a daily basis through EDI through our ERP system. We deliver Albert Heijn on a daily basis, excluding the weekends, and Jumbo Super 2 to 3 times per week. Orders are sent before 11 a.m. and we need to supply it either the next evening or the same evening or the next morning. The good thing is the market is quite centralized, so you don't have that much dropping points. And finally, you do need to have a local data entry person to put in all your product data, dimension, pack shells in this GS1 DAS system, because all retailers get it automatically from this data system. So strong master data and supply and demand planning is key to succeed. And please keep in mind that you have very strong KPIs and guidelines. You have 1 hour delivery periods, and you need a 90% accuracy rate. Again, high focus on freshness and service level. So we need to deliver at 98.5 to 99% service level, and our stocks are not acceptable. But waste is obviously the problem of the producer. 80% of the freight letters needs to be supplied to the retailer within 24 hours. Retailers have 24 hours to mention if there are any damage to the goods delivered. They mention it in EDI, and if there's one item on the invoice, even if the invoice is like 100,000 euros, you have one missing item, the whole invoice is blocked. So what we do at Danone is we wait 24 hours and we send then the corrected invoice. Otherwise, you are waiting for your money for a long time. And be aware that only pool pallets can be used. So if you don't use pool pallets, you need to either change your pallet locally or you will lose your pallet. So my recommendation will be, if you start in the Netherlands, to basically outsource your logistics and back office at the start, because it is quite a automatic and demanding process. Then finally, commercial opportunities and challenges. So to start with the opportunities, so focus on health and sustainability. This is one of the biggest growth drivers in the market. If you have clear nutritional benefits, be it private label, be it A brand, look at your competitors on shelf and see if you have a nutritional benefit. Do you have a lower carbon footprint, or do you have circular packaging? That both are important to the consumer and for the retailer. It's not only about health, so people do still spoil themselves, but if they spoil themselves, they go rather all the way than a bit of stuck in the middle. So rather than go for premium positioning with a very, very high indulging product. Convenience, currently a bit slacking because of the COVID-19 situation, but we do believe that convenience growth that we've seen before will continue. So see if you can offer channel-specific propositions or ready-to-eat or drink solutions. Focus on these big and growing consumer segments, millennials, single households, or this graying population. Big opportunity is the Dutch retail is well organized. So if you know how to convince Albert Heijn and Jumbo, you have right away 55% of the total market. And I think, Margot, you also mentioned it, that if you have an agreement with Albert Heijn and Jumbo, it might take a long time and a tough negotiation. But once you're in, and you don't need to push your store level distribution. So if they commit to 500 stores, you can be sure that you get 500 stores of distribution. And then again, it's also from a promotional point of view, the Dutch market is very efficient, so execution is good, but investments are quite high, but do generate incremental results. Then some challenges. So getting on shelf is hard, but staying on shelf is even harder. So if you're going at yourself from a branded point of view, go define the required rate of sale with your retailer. And if you don't match this rate of sale, so it's turnover per store, and they will come to you to ask for more investment, or you have to accept that you will lose the shelf space, and you get basically like say 6 months to prove your position. It is a very competitive market. Consumer pricing is around the lowest in the European Union. Our supermarkets are quite cheap. From a margin point of view, think of 35 to 45% margin over the RSP, the recommended consumer price that retailers will demand if you deliver them directly, but definitely also from a private label point of view, they will want to make that margin percentage. Shelf space is very limited. We have a lot of supermarkets and often quite small ones. So in many categories, products have just one facing, and if you can adjust your case count to the retailer guidelines, you just need just one facing, it will improve your chances of getting on shelf and having a broad distribution. You need like, if you have a case count of 12, which is obviously often very good for the big hypermarchés and stores that we don't have. In Holland, you need two facings, you will not get on shelf. And also from a waste point of view, so less products in your case, you also need to rotate less to sell the products off shelf. As a rule of thumb, if you rotate 6, for instance, per store per week, your case count also needs to be 6, so you don't get waste, and if you have waste, you will get picked off shelf. And again, about the logistical process, fix this before you enter in a negotiation with retailers, because if you don't match these KPIs, you will be out, and they don't want the hassle that a new player does not live up to their logistical requirements. This was it for me. I hope it helped you with entering the Dutch market. If you have any questions or you want to discuss business opportunities, I'm always happy to discuss business opportunities. Feel free to reach out. So thank you, and please let me know if there's any questions.
Thank you very much, Tom, for this very comprehensive and elaborate presentation. I think that gives a lot of good information describing the Dutch market, and of course the practical information. So thank you for that. And there is also one comment from Oshrine, our listener, who says that it was detailed, structured, and a very useful presentation, and she's thanking it for you. So from what I understood, actually, is that the Netherlands is a very tough food and beverage market. It's the population is getting older here. That's something to think about. The e-commerce is growing. The consumer taste is conservative, and people are more and more inclined towards health and sustainability. There is one very specific question actually about Dutch supermarkets and certification from Aldigus company. Is there a need for IFS and BRC certificates to work with the supermarkets in the Netherlands? I don't know if are you aware about those?
No, to be honest, no.
Okay.
I don't know, but no.
Okay. And then my question also would be, in terms of e-commerce, is it also only in relation to the biggest players like Albert Heijn and Jumbo, or there are also independent outlets like Picnic and others who are getting more and more important on the Dutch market?
From an e-com point of view, Albert Heijn has like the first mover. They have like a 50% share of the e-commerce market, followed by Jumbo with let's say a little bit below 30% share. And then Picnic has around, say, Jumbo 25 and Picnic around 20. So these three players have like 95% of the market. You do see that some smaller regional players like Plus are accelerating quickly, but they are lagging since they just launched recently. So Albert Heijn, Jumbo, and Picnic dominate the e-commerce market in the Netherlands.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and maybe
Picnic actually can be also, if you want to launch, could be an interesting partner to speak to, since they are sometimes open to have a bit differentiated portfolio versus Albert Heijn and Jumbo.
Okay, thank you. And then perhaps a final question to you is, there are we at the embassy also confront with that there are, of course, many good Lithuanian producers who have a fantastic products, but they say, and ask us, and maybe not only us, but enterprise Lithuanians, to how they find a good importer for their products to the Dutch market. Do they need to get a consultant, a local one, a Dutch company who can introduce them somehow? And also, from what I understood, that Albert Heijn and Jumbo are key players. So, how to get to know them, or what is needed to get simply in touch? So.
No, yeah. Well, from my experience, especially let's say from my startup experience, is you do need local contact. So, I have the advantage that through my work at Nestle and Danone, I know the contact persons that I need to speak to at Albert Heijn and Jumbo. But it's very difficult without a relationship to get in and to get an appointment, because what most buyers of the retailers will do, they will tell you, just send it to the reception and I will look at your product, if you approach them with cold calling. And then it basically ends up at the reception and never sees the desk of the buyer or the category manager, because they get approached like 30, 40 times per week by all different sort of, as they call it, goudzoekers, gelukzoekers, like people hoping to have one shot at Albert Heijn and then get listed. So it is a very time-consuming and quite difficult process to get in. So I would definitely recommend to have a local party, a local consultant as your representative, and also from the logistical point of view to outsource that at the beginning, and also from the commercial point of view.
So then this I suppose there are many consultants. So how do you identify, the consultant that is relevant to you, or that can help with you? Because of course there is you can Google, but I don't think that's the smartest way to do that. But yeah,
I think it really differs on the segment or the product you are wanting to supply, you are working with. Biggery Food Group is a big one, who is a representative of many branded premium products from across the world and distributed that in the Dutch retail market. But they work mostly with very big brands. So I don't know if that's the right access, but there are also smaller ones focused only on beverages, like it's called Sir Joe's. They are actually a spin-off of PepsiCo, but operating independently, and they distribute all sorts of niche drinks to the Dutch horeca, the Dutch cafes, and also a bit to the Dutch retail. And they are looking more for the niche products. And again, depending on your positioning in the chain, I think if you are in meat, I would look for a meat consultant, because obviously a whole different set of rules again apply then. And I don't have a list of different consultants for different segments, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would happily to share it. But again, if you have any specific question, you can always contact me directly after this session, and I'm willing to have a quick look if I can help you out with it, or help a company out with it, to see if I can bring you into contact.
Thank you, Tom, very much for this very good presentation. And I now want to turn to our last speaker, Tom Streng, who knows Lithuania well, and worked on Lithuanian market also since early 90s, but he is a businessman and business owner also here in the Netherlands, obviously. And yeah, he's an experienced entrepreneur in the food area, and we will ask him to share his practical knowledge and experience on the latest food trends, and also on how Lithuanian businesses can get their way to Dutch market, of course, and Dutch retail area. So Jan, please take the floor.
Good morning, thank you, and welcome. Well, I don't want to go into, let's say, theoretical details. I want to give you an example about we have a blueberry, amongst others, a blueberry company in Lithuania. And this company is producing about 150 tons of blueberry a year. And we bring them to the Dutch market, and the way we got into the market. So this year we sold them to, for instance, Albert Heijn, but we didn't do that as Lithuanian. It is a Lithuanian product. It is also written on the product that it's Lithuanian. But we did it on a practical way to find a way. So I give you an example about the things Tom was telling about the practical way, how to get into the shelves, let's say. But maybe first I have to add to Tom that although the retail market is about 40 billion in Holland, there is also the food service market, restaurants, cafes, outlets, etc., of about 20 billion, which is also a big market. We are not in that today, but there is an institute in Holland, the Food Service Institute, who does research on that kind of market, and they have maybe interesting reports for people who want to go into the food service market. That's besides. A second thing I wanted to say is that I wanted to add to Margot's remark about the Kamer van Koophandel, the Chamber of Commerce in Holland, that there is a difference to other countries with like in Germany, the Handelskammer, that in Holland, all companies are obliged to put in their yearly finance accounting to the Chamber of Commerce, an extract of their accounting. And all companies, also from abroad, can, against a small payment, can have a view at this as extracts. So that's for your bookkeeping people, maybe a good way to look into the reliability of partners or potential partners. So coming to the blueberry market, the blueberry market is about, let's say, an Albert Heijn or an Aldi. They will pick up in a season of 3 months, 4 months. We have blueberries in 3-4 months of production, of course, because it's only once per year. And they need this one company needs about 1,500 to 2,000 tons for the 2 or 3 months. How they organize it, they have a buying. They have companies with which they have contracts, not the producers directly, but buying companies who buy their products all over the world. And especially in this case, soft fruits, so strawberries, etc., etc. And in this season, they buy them in Europe. In the winter season, they buy them in Peru and South Africa, etc. And these products come to Holland to the shelves. How do we get into the shelves? What we did was because we needed to offer the quantity they needed. What we did was we made a cooperative with 15, 16 producers. And this cooperative together build up a company where we can do the packaging, quality control, sorting of the berries. So there the investment we did together, and we produce, all 15 of us, and then we produce about 3,500 tons. Then now we are a partner for these companies to work with, because then we can deliver their season. That's the way we penetrated the Dutch market, and I'm sure we wouldn't have penetrated the Dutch market if we wouldn't work together in this cooperative. In agricultural field in Holland, you see a lot of cooperative companies where, like Margot already told you about Wageningen, the Food Valley, etc. They try to get together, share their knowledge, and to build up. So it's the producers, especially the producers, are willing to work together a lot, which is good, which makes you strong in the market, I think. How did we juridical make this cooperation? We have this cooperation isn't a juridical entity in which the suppliers, the growers, are all partners, and it has all separate statutes, etc., etc. So you can, it's a sort of separate firm you build up. And we are building this out. We are looking for more partners. For instance, last year, because of the Brexit, the export to England is going down. But for instance, if you want to have in the blueberry field, you want to export to England, at least from one the English shade, the market is bigger, of course. You need at least about 600 to 800 tons coming from Lithuania, because otherwise we don't want this country to deliver to us. Then the amounts are the quantities are too small to control and to have it all. Maybe I should add to the European rules. Tom mentioned that we noticed that Lithuania is in the northern region for the agricultural rules of Europe, and Holland is in the west region. What does that mean? That, for instance, chemicals we had to use to in the fields in Lithuania for the blueberries had to be registered separately in Lithuania, although they were already registered in Holland to use in blueberries. But because you're in another region, you had to register them again or new. A practical thing. So you meet some practical things. In general, I think that Tom mentioned that the local market is growing more and more. People want them from the products from the local market. The big companies like Albert Heijn see Europe as local market, as local producers. They don't say it has to come from near our head office. Europe is the local market. That's very, very practical. I think in general, what I noticed from working with the Lithuanians is that the Dutch, what they always say, the Dutch have their meaning in their mouth are quite direct, and the Lithuanians are more modest. To give an example of that, which leads to confusion, we also have a logistics company. A planner in Holland says to a planner in Lithuania, can you do this or that? And then the Lithuanian planner will answer, well, I will think about it. The Lithuanian planner means then that he will not do it. And the planner in Holland gets angry after 2 days because the guy said, I will think about it. And the Dutchman expects him to say no or yes. So that's the bluntness, the Dutch bluntness you have to get used to. And the other way around, you have to keep in mind the Lithuanian, let's say, modesty way of saying things and getting around. But to be optimistic, what I noticed in general that if people in Holland, if companies in Holland work with Lithuanians, they praise their reliability and continuity and their flexibility if changes come, like for instance, the economic changes, etc., which happened in the past, and willingness to adapt to that. And so I think in general that in this sense they treat it, like Margot said, as Lithuanians, as they think of Lithuanians as the same skill as we think about Scandinavians, which is very good. So I think these are more some practical things, small practical things we noticed in the past in our companies between Holland and Lithuania, but in general, I think the two countries, to be honest, being small, being flexible, being reliable, are good countries to work together. So I think that's general. Let's end with this optimistic and statement.
Thank you very much, Jan. And of course, we here at the embassy are quite optimistic also, because we see that overall economic exchange between our countries is increasing constantly. So that's a good sign also for the future. But of course, when we see the absolute numbers of our export-import, I think that there is a good margin potential for further expansion. So I only hope that today's webinar will contribute to that. But thank you for your reflection also in a very practical terms from your own experience over now many years in being partly also in Lithuania. And of course, the question that I would like to raise is it seems that as everywhere, the networking with people to support your business is very important. And if you are looking at a new market, there is always this dilemma as to how to find reliable contacts, reliable people. And am I on the screen now? Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Reliable people to get started, So maybe that would be a general but important question. Perhaps you can try to reflect on that.
Well, I'm 63 years old, and one of the problems I see always we also have a packaging company in Holland, and for instance, we make packaging products for Albert Heijn. What you see is that their category managers change every 3 years because they go higher up or they have a new job or horizontal or whatever. And these young guys always have their have to make their marking point, of course, when they start again. So that every 3 years there is new concepts, new ideas, new ways of thinking, things have to change, etc., etc. So there you have to be very, if you are once you're in, you have to be very noticeable about that. Getting in is if you're a branded product, of course, you have something special to offer. then it's your marketing point. If you want to do private, yeah, then in Holland it's often, most of the times it's price, and they expect it to be according to all quality measures, etc. So how do you get in? Yeah, I think if you well, there's no one answer, of course. As I said, we did with the blueberries, we did it by combining our production and packaging. But in blueberries, at the moment, you still are in a demand market and not a supply market. So there you are partly lucky. But if you go into, so what's the difference in your product? And Tom also already told you about the things the market is asking for, packaging, etc., etc. So there you have to find your way in. Maybe
from a private label point of view, if I may add, because I don't know, we're also approached, but they usually want to be sure that you can deliver the volumes. That you can deliver the required volumes at the required quality standards. So you also need to be, so they mostly approach the big guys, the big multinational in dairy, the Friesland Campina, the Arla's, the Danones of this world, because they know these guys have the quality standards and also they can deliver the volumes they are demanding. So especially from the private label point of view, you need to be like in the top 4, top 5 of their like people who they send the private label request to, and then you can offer, yeah, what Jan said, are you delivering the demanded quality at the demanded price? So again, I do think you need a local person pushing at these buyers and making aware that you have companies suitable to deliver the required quality in the required volumes at the required price.
Thank you. And just to illustrate maybe the type of issue that our companies are raising also in the context of this seminar, there is one comment or question is that saying, I'm just quoting, that I'm interested in Dutch market. We are the wholesale company of IQF, forest berries and the mushrooms. I don't know what IQF is, but anyhow, would be grateful for the contacts in this field. So, I mean, I suppose that you build up your contacts from what we started in the very beginning. I mean, from studying the market and contacting, the chambers or consultants and so on. So, but that is. You need someone perhaps local also, as we said, to help you out with these contacts. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Maybe Margot knows better about Wageningen, and in the practical field, I can of course ask in the agricultural field in a practical way if I have the precise information to contact people. But Margot probably knows more people in the Wageningen, in the Food Valley field, where they. So is it about building up, or is it ready products?
It's about selling berries and mushrooms to the Dutch market, actually. So there is a producer in Lithuania, and he's interested in who can he contact in this field. So
okay, I can inform for him.
Okay. So
maybe we get the information from you in his specific question. Huh?
Okay, maybe we will try to somehow to arrange that, and that would be very, very, very practical follow-up.
Yeah.
But I just before I start to summarize maybe or wrap up, is there any other comments or that would you like to raise? I am now asking the panelists from what you heard or any leftover comments. So that would be an opportunity. I don't know.
I have a question and a comment maybe for our Dutch speakers and for the audience also, because what I see with my work is that the Netherlands looks at the Baltic region often as one area. So for them, it's, well, they always mix up which country is which, and we are all used to that, so that's no problem. But my question is more like, should companies make a combined effort? Because if they would combine their finances and other resources with some products or brands and present themselves together somehow, or like it was mentioned that volume is a main question often. So if combined volume of berries or dairy products, and I mean, would that work?
I think that would work if you do that in niches, and it works in niches. Then the big companies come, like Albert Heijn, and they want it. Then you have something special. It could work, but then you penetrate the market via the food service industry, no?
Okay.
I think.
Because I know Dutch are the greatest in collaboration, and I think our region sometimes yes, sometimes no. So this is where I often see that we could work together more.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, but it's like you said, the Dutch see them as the Baltics normally, and you and I know there's a big difference between the three countries.
Yes.
If you have been there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if there are no further comments from the panel, and I don't see any further questions or comments from the audience either, so I would just like to say maybe as a way of conclusion that of course the Dutch market is interesting for Lithuanian producers in food and beverage, but it's a very mature market. It's Dutch are rich people, so and that has some related consequences. And from what I understood today, and also from my experience in the Netherlands at the embassy, is that if you want to work with the Dutch in this market, you have to prepare for a long run rather than for a quick fix. So there is no easy way to quickly make a return on your products, whatever, however fantastic they may be, and so on. So you work, incrementally and find your way. You study the market and prepare, and you work with the local consultants and build up your network. So that's what I think is a takeaway, at least for me. But I also would like to thank very much the panelists, Margot, Jan and Tom, for taking their time in preparing for this webinar and for their very impressive performance today in helping us out to understand both the construction of Dutch market and by providing some very practical tips as to how to interact with the Dutch businessmen, retailers, market chains, and so on. So thank you very much, and it was really appreciated. And it was a very pleasant experience for me also to work with you today, and I hope that translates also to our audience. And finally, I would like to thank all the participants of today's webinar. I know that there was quite a number of people who turned out, and some, very well-known companies and other companies. I hope that they have heard a useful advice for their business. And I also encourage our our businessmen, companies to follow the Enterprise Lithuania and our embassy's social media and web page for any further events. So I thank you once again. It would have been maybe good to meet in Vilnius in live mode. That was an original plan, but anyhow, we are, I think, very conveniently use an internet-based platforms to reach out to each other and to our business community. So thank you once again and stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.